Good evening. The technology meeting of the St. Mary Parish School Board will now come to order. Dr. Big English, would you please call roll?
Ms. LaSalle?
Here.
Ms. Anselm?
Present.
Ms. Jones? Here. Mr. Mancuso?
Here.
Ms. Dennis? Ms. Bro?
Here.
Ms. Caesar?
Here.
Ms. Hepler? Ms. Ronsonet? Mr. Perry?
Here.
Mr. Bede?
Do we have a quorum? I'm sorry, I don't have a list of your names to know who is who. Okay, thank you.
And they have the name tags in front of them, Ms. LaSalle.
Yeah, but I can't see them. It's okay. Just say your name when you have answer a question, so I can put a name with a face. We haven't had a technology meeting in a little while, so thank you. We just need an update, Mr. Caleb, about what's going on with technology. How are you with your funding so that we can plan for you during budget time and plan finances and know where you are in your finances, and how we keep an account of our computers, because I know that the kids take them home with them now, right? Yeah. So I'm gonna follow the agenda, and then I'm just giving you an oversight of what we're gonna do. Okay, first item, receive updates concerning program funding. See, I said that already. Mr. Caleb.
Okay, so just broad overview for right now. The fund has 1.4 million in it as of the last budget. Now, most of that goes towards salaries and benefits for some of the technology employees, and the other about 650,000 is the laptop initiative that y'all approved in the budget from last year that we rolled over for this year to keep open, because we're still doing laptop initiatives, which is something later on we can talk about. We have about $250,000 for software in the budget and about $150,000 for materials in the budget. And the other odds and ends are things like travel and mileage and auditing, things like that.
Are there any questions from the committee members about the funding and the budget?
I'll add something. Our audit is wrapping up, and usually this time of the year, we'll recommend some transfers. And, you know, we did take $1.5 million out the $5 million. So once we know the final numbers, I may come back to you guys in January and recommend moving some money back into technology. Because that's our only funding source is general, you know, we don't have any separate funding sources. So I will come back to you guys once I know the final numbers, and hopefully we can replenish some of that money that we used.
So didn't we used to have something?
E-rate.
E-rate, yes. What happened to
Yes, ma'am. We still have E-rate. E-rate only pays for certain items. So you have E-rate and you have two categories. You have category 1, which pays for our internet circuits that we get. And then category 2 pays for all of our network equipment. So our switches, our access points, any kind of wiring, anything like that that makes the network work on a day-to-day basis. That's our category 2 budget. That's done by the federal government. We have about, I want to say 127,000 left. It's a 5-year turnaround on that money. So we get, at the beginning of the 5-year turnaround, we get 1.4 million, and we have 5 years to spend that. So we have 127,000 left, and it's going to be, if we don't use it, we lose it. which I do plan on using it, but we get refreshed for the 25-26 school year is whenever we're looking at probably another 1.4 million coming from the federal government for E-rate.
You get refreshed, if you haven't used it all, you lose that part,
Yes, ma'am. If you haven't used it all, then you lose that
and then you get
amount.
another refreshment?
Yes, ma'am. But we plan on using it. We just we had about 300, almost 400,000 left. We used some of it to buy a brand-new firewall and to do upgrades to Franklin Junior High.
One more thing about the budgeting. Do you feel that if there was no money in the general fund to transition to you, would your department be able to run efficiently with what you have right now?
With what as if there was no extra, or?
If we weren't able to do what my cousin, Mr. Perry, was about to, what he just talked about.
It would stop some of the initiatives that we're going to do, like the laptops. Like, one of the things I have to talk to you about is we have to refresh our student devices coming up. A lot of our student devices are 4 going on 5 years old, or 5 going on 6 years old. And we need to do a refresh on those. So not having any extra money coming in would stop us on doing things like that, and it would really negatively impact the school day.
Well, I don't think we have any problem getting money from the general fund, but I'm sure we'd like to have another funding source, like grants or something. I don't know. What do other school systems do for their technology? Because we're used to being way ahead of the pack when it comes to technology. We are, but you can't get too much ahead if you don't have the funding that you need.
Yes, ma'am, and we do apply for grants whenever they do come available. It's not, usually grants in my area are very specific to what you can do. So like one of the ones that we're doing right now is a cybersecurity grant that we're applying for and trying to get to where we can upgrade our cybersecurity and be more, have more hands-on and managed systems in place for our security on our network.
It sounds good. Any comments or questions from the committee?
I have a question. Oh,
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Jones.
I know I'm jumping a little ahead, but just for the future, I know we're preparing for the transition for Franklin Senior High, Franklin Junior High. High's technology provisions are being made for that transition.
Yes, ma'am. So what we've done is in our E-rate program, we went ahead and purchased through them. All of the wiring and everything has been taken care of through our E-rate program. So all the wiring, the network switches that we're putting over there is all brand new, access points, everything is pretty much brand new. The only thing that I'm aware of that teachers are taking will be their own computers and printers from Franklin Junior. They're going to have new technology in the building, so things that are mounted on the wall will all be brand new. We won't be taking things from Franklin Junior currently and moving them over. We're going to have brand new over there. Yes.
Hey, on the refresh program, are you refreshing existing equipment, replacing it, a little bit of both?
The plan that I have to do is, I'm sorry.
Number 2?
Oh.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, we're good to move to number 2? I'm sorry.
I did want to just remind the committee that the general fund does transfer annually to the technology fund. Well, it was 800,000. We upped it this year. I don't remember whether it was a 900 or a million, but that really only covers, we pay 4 or 5 salaries out of there. So almost half of it is salaries and benefits. And that doesn't allow him any money for any major initiatives. It's really just printers and whatever he may need.
Yeah, mainly small, what we call small inventory in the office. We, this year, if we're going into number 2, Or, okay. What we've done this year with the initiative, we went ahead and bought brand-new Dell computers for the incoming ninth and transitioning 10th grade students for this year. We bought them brand-new Dell computers that are a lot more sophisticated than the streams that they were on before, can run programs that we couldn't even load onto the computers before. They're basically comparable to a teacher's laptop is what we purchased for them. And that was because we have more and more programs that in these courses, sometimes the Jumpstart courses, the software is getting more and more complex and requiring more and more RAM. I don't want to get too technical with y'all, but it requires higher graphics, higher RAM, more space on there. So we had to get a computer that we could not only meet those requirements now, but also later on, because we buy computers to last 4 or 5 years, to think about in the future, okay, what it could go up to in the future. So we purchased 1,300 computers last year, and this year we divvied them out amongst the schools, the 9th and 10th graders. My plan is for this coming school year, the coming budget cycle for next school year to ask for us to purchase for 9th graders coming in to the district. Not coming into the district, but 9th graders for next year, to purchase them another Dell laptop. And what we'll do is we'll just cycle through every year buying the 9th graders a laptop, and that laptop will suffice through the end of their high school career.
One student keeps the same computer for the whole duration of the high school year?
Yes, ma'am. What normally happens, they'll keep it for the 1 year. I know some schools try to hand them back out to the same students the next year. Some may, depending on if a student leaves or something, or if we have new students, they may get different laptops issued out. But I know some of the schools try to issue out the same laptop from year to year.
Ms. Bro, do you want to speak to that? Because I know you do some of that
Yes.
at your school.
Yes.
Okay, so yes, we did get brand new Dells for the 9th and 10th graders, and like our 11th and 12th graders are on like year 5. So I appreciate the coming in freshmen. And yes, we try, especially when they have a case on them now, but they have a sticker with their name on it. And I engrave all of their chargers so they match the serial numbers. So I pick them up and I dole them out. I give them back out to the same students as much as possible in the next year. So what they return, they get back. And usually they do some repairs or some
Right.
re-imaging over the summer. But yes, we try and give back exactly the same one they give back.
Thank you, Ms. Bro. That was informative. If there are no other questions, we'll go on to item number 2. Receive updates concerning student device transitioning.
Okay. So the transitioning, like I said, we're going to ask for the 9th grade for next year coming in to get them the new Dells as well. And then also with the laptop initiative, we're going to ask for 1st and 5th grade to get new computers to start a refresh in the district. That way we can get more updated devices. Most of our devices were purchased in the last 3 to 4 years. I think we even have some devices that are still with us since 2020 that I'm trying to move out as we find those devices, just because they're so old. A laptop normally that you buy off the shelf in a store is only good for 2 years. The ones that we get, we try to ensure that they'll last anywhere as 4 to 5 years, and these have taken quite a toll. For what they are, they have lasted quite a long time, and what that goes back to is my team that works on them to keep them up to date, and just everything that we pour into and the software that we look at putting on them to make sure that it's not something that's going to hurt the computer. So yes, I will be asking, I did some preliminary numbers, just looking at them. I'm gonna put together some specs and, because right now we're using HP Streams, which are out of production. You can't get those anymore. So I'm gonna put together specs to go out to HP, Dell, Lenovo, Asus, Acer, to see who can give us the best deal on the type of laptop that I'm looking for our lower elementary grades.
I have a question. You said that you want to start with the first grades and
Yes, ma'am.
fifth grade. Do they keep their laptops at school and come back to their desk and have it, or do they take their laptops home? Is that what you're planning, or what?
No, ma'am, they don't take theirs home. I think it's middle school. Middle school has checkout, yes. So first through fifth grade would be keeping them at school on a charging cart.
So second, third, and fourth don't have the computers? Won't?
Yes, ma'am. They will have a computer, and we still have some streams in stock that we've been handing out, and we have quite a few of those that we can, whenever we have ones that are going out. But what I'm trying to do is establish like a baseline of where, okay, so first grade is whenever they really start using these devices, not really kindergarten, but for first grade, they really start using them. And then from there, about 4 years, because that's about the best that we can get with a warranty, going ahead and establishing, okay, they'll have this device for 4 years, and then in fifth grade, they'll get a brand new device going forward. And then from fifth grade through eighth grade, they'll use that device, and then in ninth grade, they'll get a new laptop from there. So it's about every 4 years a student can expect a new laptop.
Questions?
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
You said that ninth grade would be getting another one, a new one.
Yes.
So that would put my next year's ninth, 10th, and 11th.
Correct.
What about my seniors that are still?
Seniors, we're still using what we have for right now, and we're trying to use the best of what we have for it. That was kind of the plan whenever we started this, was to try to phase it out as it went. With the number of seniors that we have for right now, we figure that we have enough good Dells, because high school 11th and 12th already had higher end computers that we had purchased before for 11th and 12th grade. I know some of those are 2 to 3 years old. Some of them, I think at one school, I know I have some that are from 2021 or 2020. But like I said, we tried to get those out, and we try to use only the better ones that we have. We re-image them constantly to make sure that they're running at standard operating capacity. That's just the best that we can do for right now, unless the board wants to be gracious enough to give us the money to buy seniors new laptops. But for right now, this is the plan of what I'm planning to ask for.
Okay, thank you.
And as we pull in the other devices from like the incoming, we will have enough devices to kind of weed out the ones that are having concerns, so.
Correct. And that's pretty much what we did before. Whenever we got the 9th and 10th grade, we took all of the devices that we had at the high school and kind of divvied them up and said, okay, these are no longer working, get those out of the way. These are the ones that are still running and running smoothly. Let's give them out. So some kids this year got new devices, even though they may have had one from before. They got a new one, new to them, I should say, just because it was one that was running better than the one that they had.
Having no questions, we'll move on to item number 3. Provide updates on student computer usage.
Okay. The only, I just went through and pulled some numbers for you. We have 8,800 devices in the district right now. About 7,500 of those devices are being used by students in the district. That is Windows devices. We have roughly 2,000 Apple devices, which are mainly all iPads that are all, I know probably a good mix is about 70-30 for student use to staff use, because sometimes we buy some for staff. to use as well. Or we buy a set for the school, and then the school determines if they're going to be a classroom set or for staff.
Do we still have, the personnel that had one per school that is like a computer guru?
Technicians, yes, ma'am. So it's not one per school. It's about one per 3 or 4 schools. I have one technician at every station for every high school. And plus they have I'll have a technician for the Berwick area, one for the Patterson area, one for the Morgan City. I have one for Morgan City High School and middle school just because they're so big. And then I have one for the elementary schools in Morgan City, and he also does Centerville, just because I had to give him a high school. That way we could have everybody there for testing, have a technician at every school for testing. But yes, ma'am, I have 8 technicians right now. Yep, 8 technicians.
I was really talking about, a person that was there every day. I think we used to have that, didn't we? Mr. Perry?
You may be talking about the site technology coordinator. That's normally it's the librarian that takes on that role. But I think they're called site technology leaders now. But yes, we do have somebody at the school and like I said, it's normally the librarian. I think maybe 1 or 2 schools has somebody other than the librarian that serves as an STL.
So they can actually, help with software issues?
They help bring in the computers and kind of help us diagnose for repair. So if a student brings in a computer that may not be working something or maybe acting kind of wonky, they will see what it is to be able to put down for us a better reason than just my computer doesn't work that a student may write on a sheet. Some of them we've actually started this year. We've started training some of the librarians to do re-imaging for us, because normally for a tech to go around at the end of the year, it takes all summer for a tech to go around to all of their schools and re-image all their devices that need to be re-imaged. So we started training the librarians to re-image devices this year. That way, during the school year, they don't have to wait on one of my techs. If they don't want to, they can re-image it themselves, because it's a fairly simple process to go through and do. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Ms. LaSalle, I am the site technology leader at Patterson High School. And number 1, thank you for that technician for testing. Every high school has a technician for testing. Great job. He's, not only did he troubleshoot the things, but he showed me how to do it, so I have all kinds of notes. So I'm not hogging him all the time this week, but I can re-image a computer, but I also see what our problems are coming through. And one of the main things with those juniors and seniors right now are the batteries, the charging issues. But I troubleshoot, and I have a list, and Nick will tell me when he's Nick Perkle will tell me when he's coming, and I'll get the computers and say a computer is working, but it has to be plugged into work. I won't take that computer from that child until he's there so he can fix it and get it right back. So I try and make sure that every student has a computer at all times, but it's not totally possible, but I try.
Good. Thank you. And also with that, you mentioned batteries.
Yes, ma'am.
You have a budget for the changing out of the batteries, because
That is the $150,000 that I mentioned in the fund that we use. Right now, if you look at it, it's probably spent, because in the beginning of the year, I go through and we purchase the biggest things that we purchase for computers are screens, chargers, and batteries. Those are the 3 biggest things that run out during a year. So in the beginning of the year, we kind of figure out where we are on our inventory, and we go through and we order what we believe we'll need for the year. And then as it comes up, as we run out, we order more that comes up. But screens, batteries, and chargers has been big this year. Yeah, kids losing chargers or breaking chargers or screens being broken. Batteries are because they leave them plugged in too much, to be honest. It's not good to leave your devices plugged in all the time, so whenever they're plugged in for too much for a laptop, it will actually cause the battery to fail, which is one of the reasons why we have to replace them, because the students, like whenever they're at home, they'll leave it at home all night long to charge, and over time, that just wears down the battery.
So I'm glad to know that because that may be my problem. But, but kids can use their computers if the battery goes out and they can still use it by just plugging it in the wall. Are
Yes,
they
ma'am.
allowed to do that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because I've been doing that for like 3 years. Batteries are expensive. I have a Lenovo, and I talked to you about it already, and it's a high-end laptop. So when it stopped working on me last month after 7 years, I was heartbroken because it's reliable. That's about how long a high-end computer is supposed to last you?
Yes, well, like I said, the ones that you buy just off the shelf are made for about 2, sometimes 3 years, but higher end PCs that you buy, you can get them to last, if you treat them right, you can get them to last 7 or 8 years. I have one that's on year 8 right now, a laptop.
Yeah, mine is 7 or 8 years, and I expected it to go 10, and it just died on me. So, anyway, okay. I also have a question about about the software. Are they allowed to put software on their computers? Because I know they're tempted to put games on there if they want to.
No, ma'am. Students are not allowed to download anything onto their computer. You have to have an administrative password to download something onto a student's computer. One of the biggest fights that we fight with students is VPNs. It's a virtual private network, which allows them to do things off of our network. We've bought software and upgraded the software that we currently have to try and combat this, because what it does is it opens up our network to threats whenever somebody uses a VPN. So they're using this VPN and it's not secure or anything, and they're allowing traffic to come onto our network through a split tunnel that could essentially hurt us. So we tried to stop those as soon as we find them. We have software called LineWise that we put in place that will alert us to a VPN being used. We have software through our firewall that alerts us whenever a VPN or an IP address from outside of our domain is being used. And one of the new softwares that I'm looking at kind of put to the side is to track our laptops. That way, if one is lost, we can find where it was last at. It also has a feature on there to where we can say, alert me if you detect an IP address outside of this range of which would be our IP addresses. And that would also help us with napping down on VPNs.
Thank you, that was very informative. Any comments, questions from the committee? Sarah, it's just you and me, and Mr. Mancuso. Okay, we're on number 4. Any comments or questions from the committee? Well, I have another. AI,
Yes, ma'am.
are we there?
Nobody is ready for AI. I'm actually attending a conference right now, technically, that a lot of what we're talking about is how to bring AI into the classroom. The State Department has released guidance on allowing AI into the classroom. One of the things that we've seen was it's about how you teach the kids to use it. If you would allow me just a minute.
Take as much
One-
time as you need.
Yeah, well, one of the things that they said was, whenever Google came along, people were worried about Google because everybody was going to Google their answers for a test. And they said the same thing when calculators came along. Everybody was just going to use the calculator to get to the answer. And what they found out was it's all in how you train the students to use the tool to come along. So instead of using the calculator to find the answer, you use the calculator to get parts and solve parts of the problem to solve it. You use Google to not say what the answer is to this, but how do I get to the answer for this? And the same thing with AI. You teach the student how to use the platform to, okay, not write this essay for me, but look at this essay and compare it to the rubric my teacher has and give me feedback on it. So it's things like that that we have to put into policy and put into guidelines on how AI needs to be used in the classroom.
When do you anticipate that we will be using that? I know it's a lot of talk about it, and it's the buzzword right now, and it's coming, whether we get it or not, but it's coming.
If you want.
We actually have, I don't think people realize in some of our software and programming that we have some of our tutoring programs, they are intuitive to what the student needs based upon student responses to questions or where they are in a reading program. And then that tutoring next step is determined by the program, which is a form of artificial intelligence. But as Mr. B was saying, there are a lot of programs out there. When we say AI is just not one thing. There are so many programs that could be used. A lot of people are determining, again, how they should best be used. And really, the real training first is going to happen with the people who are using it in the classroom as far as teachers. That's where our real first step is going to have to take place, so that we understand how to use it in order to support our students, so that they are using it effectively too. So I actually had, Ms. Caesar, I know you just went to something last week. Can you kind of speak to that maybe and tell them where you went?
I went to the Career and Technical Education Conference in San Antonio, and they talked about using artificial intelligence in the classroom. My take on it is, first of all, you have to understand how to put the prompt into the generative AI to be able to produce something. So I find the students, they don't understand how to do that. So that's just one thing. Yeah.
Right.
I teach middle and high school. I'm at Centerville High School. So.
About the robotics and how you're assisting us with that as well?
Yeah, so one of my personal goals in my classroom is to get the kids to be more hands-on, teach them how to think critically, creatively, more importantly. So I find that robotics is kind of that sweet spot, and the kids are, they're excited about it. So I'm excited about it also. And we'll start our season in January, our build season.
Yes, we just opened, we received a grant from NASA, and we opened it up district-wide to our high schoolers. We had 33, I think, final applicants across the district, and so they will be narrowed down to a team that will compete, hopefully regionally and hopefully nationally. We'll see where we get Ms. Caesar, but I really feel like she definitely is going to be a great sponsor for our district-wide team, and it's just a nice place to start in that. So thank you.
No problem. I did have a question though.
Yes, ma'am.
About the student devices.
Yes, ma'am.
Where are you seeing more of the devices being broken as far as grade level?
Middle school, honestly.
A sixth grade about?
I don't want to narrow it down to a particular grade or a particular school or anything like that, but no, middle schoolers, they're kind of in that, they're at that first level to where they can check out devices to go home with, and just being a middle schooler itself, we do have more tickets in that range for broken devices. High school, not quite as much as as you would think in the high school area. And of course, elementary, it's just, we have, every once in a while, we have broken devices that come across, but it's not nearly the amount that we do in middle school.
Is there something put in place to, because I know in elementary, their teacher primarily cares for their device. Is there something put in place to teach, like transition the students to caring for their own device?
I don't have anything now, but I'm sure we can look into something for that. There is. Um, uh,
Yes, my daughter has had to pay for, a computer, some computers, 'cause with her middle schooler, well, he's in high school now, but when he was in middle school, oh my God. Because they can take them home every day in that room.
Yes, ma'am. So there, we don't have anything currently, but I can look into something. One of the things that I'd love to be able to do, that's kind of outside my realm right now, is to have students, like a student tech shop at a school. They found, I was actually listening to someone today, they dropped their cost from $90,000 down to $4,000 just because the students now understand who they're taking. Like, it's not just taking it to a teacher, they're taking it to another student to be fixed. So they understand, like, the students have kind of come back, you know, this is what we get all the time. This is what breaks the computers, things like that. And having students in the, training them on how to fix small things like doing a screen repair. They actually, it's an internship really is what it is. And it's part of their Jumpstart course that they were talking about today. I would love something like that, but that's way down the road to discuss with the superintendent.
Well, we did attend the same conference, but we actually are looking at some internships this summer in all of our departments.
Okay.
In the schools, they just can't be within the school in which they go to.
Right.
But if they're a senior, they can travel to another school and participate. So.
Correct.
I'm not trying to, I don't want you to go anywhere, but in Baton Rouge, in junior high, the kids take their computers home. And I'm sure that they're regretting that decision, because if they're like my grandson, they get lost. He throws his book bag on the floor, and his mom says, "Is your computer in there, Christopher?" "Oh, yeah." So, Christopher, check your computer to make sure that it's working. Okay, so junior hires just do not have the frontal lobe to care about anything that's mechanical or working. They just want it to be able to work. They don't care how it gets broken. They don't care if it gets broken. It's been left outside, and his mom and dad had to go to the campus at night because it's like, oh, I forgot it on the bench. So that's the problem. I'm glad that we don't have that problem here. Any other questions?
One quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we utilize like a Go Guardian or some sort of monitoring program in our
Ye-
schools?
Yes, ma'am. So we don't have Go Guardian. We have class-wise, line-wise that we do for classroom management. We put it in place this year. That's actually one of the things that we did recently that I have to get some feedback on. The program lets you operate inside your classroom with the students that are in your classroom, and it lets you turn off certain things on a student's device. So one of the things is YouTube. So in some of the classes, the teachers like to let the students view certain videos on YouTube during the day. So we opened it up, and now teachers can turn off YouTube while they're in their classroom or turn it on so that they can use that, as well as other programs. But that was the big thing that we just did with that. But it's called LineWise is what we did. We had Go Guardian before, but I do not believe it was being utilized. In fact, I'm sure it wasn't. And then we tried one called Impero right after that, but couldn't get it working. And then we finally went with LineWise, and it's been running like a dream.
Thank you so much, Mr. Reed, for
Yes, ma'am.
all of your input. It's been very informative. I know you were nervous about having a technology meeting, but
No.
it's just information. So, we're gonna take all of this into consideration and make sure that we plan ahead so that we can get you the funding that you need to do the magic that you do. Any comments or questions from the board, committee?
I do have one question.
Go ahead.
Like AI, even class-wise, I just don't feel like I know enough about it. Like I would like further training, something. So I really don't know what I don't know. But I'd like to know more and I'd like to disseminate it, you know? I will let you know that seniors in high school, well, basically all high school students, many of them don't know how to correctly restart a computer. They think the power button is it. And so I fix a lot of their problems and it doesn't even get to our technician. All I do is plug it in and restart it a couple of times and now their mouse works and they're good to go. So yes, I agree with those student technician kind of things, but yes, just from the high school standpoint.
Even the high school, wow.
Yes, so I want to know more about these things. I'd like more training.
Absolutely, and any kind of training, you can talk, I know you know Miss Hepler and Miss Ronsonet in my office. For like line-wise training, you can contact them. I know for librarians, we haven't done a whole lot of training because it's mainly a classroom tool and you have to have a class set up. We're trying to get it set up for librarians to be able to use whenever you're teaching a class in your library. It's just a little bit, we have to kind of massage the data that we have right now to get it to work. So bear with us with that. But if there's any kind of training that you would like, they're always available to hold a training during PLCs or come to schools and do one-on-one trainings.
Can I just ask a question real quick about the ones who are not on the board? Can you tell me what school you miss? Caesar, Candy Caesar. What school did
Yes, ma'am. I'm at Centerville High School.
I'm sorry, where?
Centerville High.
Centerville High. Ms. Brown.
Patterson High.
I just wanted everybody else to know. You got Patterson High. Okay, that's it. Everybody else I know. Okay, with nothing else, yes, thank you. For the record, Mr. Mancuso moved to adjourn and Ms. Jones, was you Ms. Jones? Yes. That seconded.
And we're running slightly behind, so we will start the next committee meeting at 6:10 for policy.